All right. Well, good evening, or it's evening where I'm at. My name is Wesley Ray, and I'm going to attempt to give my video speech for my GCU assignment, talking about a few different things, speaking to current Grand Canyon University students about a couple important topics, things like artificial intelligence, academic integrity, so on and so forth. First off, I'll say I had to go out and buy a new webcam. I am used to doing these sorts of things for my students in the classroom, but my home setup was a little ill-equipped. So bear with me. I may have to work a few bugs out. So if you're watching this, I'm going to go through a series of prompts. I've written some notes down with a couple key takeaways that I've got just to give myself a little bit of structure. So if you see me looking down periodically throughout this, you know what I'm looking at. Anywho, um, I'm going to start off with what is academic integrity. Uh, well, integrity is being a person of integrity is being a person that can be trusted to just do the right thing, somebody that people can count on. Now, in the terms of academic integrity, that means doing academic work that can be counted on. That means that you're not cheating. It means that you're citing your sources. It means that the work that you've done is your own work. And it also means that you did something in the first place, that you did the job that was asked of you. Uh, and those are some big takeaways. Do what is asked of you, do it right. Don't discredit yourself and your colleagues and your university by acting in a way that is academically dishonest. Okay. What are graduate level research requirements? Graduate level requirements are going to be slightly above what a lot of undergraduate folks might be used to. And I have some big ones here that I do want to talk about. And a lot of these higher level research standards, ultimately it comes down to making sure you've got to make sure your sources are good. Okay. You can't just use a source because it's popular. Okay? You have to use a source because it's credible and because it has good scholarly information. So we need scholarly, peer-reviewed, ideally, sources. Peer-reviewed sources are going to be some of the most ideal because those are sources that people had to critique before they ever got published. And if those sources were good enough to get through that critiquing process, stands a good chance that they're good enough for you to use as long as they're relevant to your thesis. Okay? You need to critically assess these resources. Critical assessment of resources means that you essentially need to know exactly what it is that you're using and how you're using it. You need to understand the points that your resources or that your documents that you're using for research, you need to understand what they say. You need to understand how that fits in the scheme of the points you're trying to make. Okay. And if you can't do that, then you have to go back, you have to read those sources again, and you need to understand them before you can articulate them. You can't use a material that you don't understand. Okay. If you're not ready to use it yet, then just take the time and relearn the material. Okay. You have time to reread your sources, certainly before publishing. You need a well-developed thesis. Okay. And a lot of people will struggle with developing a thesis, but ultimately it comes down to good organizational skills and making sure that you're properly setting yourself up for success with that regard. Organizational skills are, in a sense, their own real requirement for good graduate level research. How am I going to use all these resources? Do I have clear structure in my document? Is my English okay? These are all things, well, assuming you're writing in English. Um, these are all going to be parts of organizational skills. As a part of a research task that you may have in a graduate level, you're going to be tasked with managing vast amounts of information through all your resources and your research documents. Okay, you've got to be able to manage that swath of information, and that's going to take some organizational skills. It's also going to take organizational skills to be able to translate all of that information and filter it down to what you need and how to present that to a reader or a viewer or however you so choose to present your information. Okay. Digital literacy. This is 2024 and computers are important and people don't necessarily do research anymore by reading Britannica. Okay. People are doing research by using online libraries like GCU's library. So you need to be digitally literate enough. That means that you need to be competent enough with a computer and the softwares that come with it in order to access databases like GCU's library and extrapolate information from sources therein. Okay. What is faith to academic integrity? Faith is important to academic integrity because it has to do with the whole basis of morality, being a good person, being a trustworthy individual, and having these sort of virtuous characteristics that are very important in a lot of people's faith. They're also very important in academic integrity. Okay, you should be trustworthy enough to not steal people's information and present them as your ideas. Okay, uh, I mean that's kind of it. Uh, the faith that many people have, their religious practices, so much of it is dedicated to trying to be the ideal type of person. And a person's definitions of what is perfect may change based on this faith or that faith. But in every sense of it, uh, it's about being the best version of yourself. And the best version of yourself does not commit academic dishonesty. Okay. How does academic dishonesty undermine graduate school? Well, what is the goal of graduate school? To make ourselves better, to make ourselves more knowledgeable, to give ourselves some more experience, and somewhat of a surface level, you could say, to give us more credentials, to further ourselves into faith, to further ourselves in this regard or that regard or what have you. When we commit academic dishonesty, we're slowing down progress. Progress demands challenge. We are not going to get better as students by doing things we've always done. So we have to be challenged. We have to go out and do the jobs that have been asked for us on our own, and we have to get it done. And it should be hard, and we should be able to overcome that challenge. And through that, we get better. If we are taking the easy way out or taking shortcuts by stealing other people's work, then it goes against the purpose of a university whose job it is to make us better. What roles does AI have to play in academics? This one I'm going to go kind of into more of, I don't know. This is kind of a point of debate. To me, I would say that there is some grunt level work that can be done by AI in academics. What I mean is that for myself as a teacher, sometimes I will use AI to create a worksheet. But I would never use an AI as a research tool per se. AI is not going to be a credible source for me to start asking questions to and for it to give me answers when I'm writing a biology document. And then I'll just cite ChatGPT. Well, ChatGPT said it works this way. No, that doesn't work. That's not passable in a graduate level. So there may be things for AI to do, but certainly AI needs to be used very carefully. You can't use it as a research tool to ask for information. And you certainly cannot and should not ever use it to write your own paper because that's very similar to academic dishonesty in that the work you're submitting is ultimately not your work. It's a software that was developed by some other person. You did not develop the software, you did not write the paper, and you have nothing to do with any of the meritorious qualities that that paper may have. So I hope that I've talked about everything in at least some detail that we needed to learn. Once again, my name is Wesley Ray, and this was my video for our GCU students. Thank you.